In this video I will talk about something that most traders simply don't realize, and yet it is the largest source of their frustration when attempting to trade successfully. There are basically two major schools of thought in all technical analysis, and each one produces vastly different results. However, most traders spend years without knowing this simple fact, and that's precisely the reason they get stuck. The two schools of thought are the mainstream technical analysis and the scientific technical analysis. I will make a table of comparison so you can truly see the difference between the two, and how alarming this difference can be. The mainstream type is what 99% of traders use on a daily basis. These are the most common tools available. The scientific type is used by 1% of traders or less, and it is composed of more sophisticated tools. The main difference between these two types of technical analysis is how they validate their tools. The mainstream type uses the appeal to popularity, and it usually grounds itself in wishful thinking and irrationality. In other words, in mainstream technical analysis, your emotional attachment to a tool can usually blind you in regard to the real applicability of that tool. In other words, most of the mainstream type of technical analysis is an unscientific way of seeing the market. The scientific technical analysis on the other hand is based on the scientific method, which is the same thing responsible for any type of technological advance in our society. The scientific type grounds itself on rationality. In other words, what you think and feel about a tool or what other people say about it has little to do with the validity of this tool. In case if you're wondering whether or not you should care about the scientific method, just remember that you implicitly give it a lot of credit any time you use any sort of technology. In other words, using things like cell phones and cars while dismissing the value of the scientific method is a big mistake. The real problem here is that there is no reason for you to not use the scientific method in trading because you require it in many other areas of life without even realizing sometimes. The other difference about the mainstream and scientific types of technical analysis is that the mainstream type is a bottom-up approach, and the scientific method is a top-down approach. In other words, since the mainstream type is a bottom-up approach, people can invent theories and techniques about price without worrying about what the major fields of science have to say about these techniques. In the top-down approach of the scientific technical analysis, a theory or technique can only be used if it makes sense through the lens of mathematics, statistics, psychology, the laws of physics, economics and so on. The result is that most of the mainstream technical analysis is a closed universe that purposefully ignores how the world actually works, and the scientific type is an open universe deeply concerned about making sense scientifically and being in tune with how things actually work. At this point you might be wondering that the scientific type seems to be far superior than the mainstream type, and you are absolutely right about that. However, the mainstream type is still far more popular than the scientific type. This is where the creators of the mainstream type of technical analysis use a cheap trick to attract people who are unaware about the difference of thinking scientifically and unscientifically. Imagine that there is a third way of thinking about the world that is a mixture of the scientific and unscientific ways. This third way is called pseudoscience, and it composes about 95% of the mainstream technical analysis. Pseudoscience is when a scientific appearance is used to cover an unscientific idea to give it some credibility. That means that pseudoscientific ideas only look good, but they fail miserably once you break through their surface to see what's going on behind the curtains. Unfortunately, most of the mainstream type of technical analysis is composed of pseudoscientific tools, and that's why so many traders struggle so much. That's not the only reason of course, but it is a big one. With that said, there are a few tools inside the universe of mainstream technical analysis that make sense scientifically, and that are also used in the scientific type as well, but it is a tiny minority. The moral of the story here is that without a scientific understanding of the real problems of trading, and the techniques that actually solve those problems, you can spend a lifetime hammering your head against the wall with mainstream technical analysis. One of the purposes of this channel is to make you see the market in a more scientific and sophisticated way, so you can break through the closed universe of mainstream analysis and start using the realistic and contextually rich scientific analysis. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your feedback below the video. Don't forget to watch our other free videos with live trade examples and general market information. If you wish to learn scientific technical analysis, please check the Strategy Store link in the video description. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next videos.